Thank you, Speaker. Sir, I raise to support the bill. The main focus of this bill is to empower the central government to increase the authorized capital of NABARD from 5,000 crores to 30,000 crores, and further to increase the said amount of rupees 30 crores in consultation with Reserve Bank of India. Also, RBI equity balance to rupees 20 crores in the NABARD through the central government. In order to achieve this, the amendment bill is being introduced. I welcome this bill. India being an agricultural country, it became necessary for the then government to extend all support to the agrarian sector, especially construction of dams throughout the India for irrigation purpose, development of industry throughout the India for providing fertilizers, pesticides, seeds. Unfortunately, this kind of priority was not in the vision of the then government. The RBI Act 1934 was enacted during the Britishers in order to provide financial help in the agriculture sector. They have provided a large number of RBI profit and then transferred to the long-term National Rural Credit Fund and National Rural Credit Stabilization Fund, with an aim to extend financial help to the farmer throughout the country. In the course of time, crores of rupees accumulated. This fund was being managed by RBI through its subsidiaries like Agriculture Credit Department, that is ACD, and Agriculture Refinance Department, ARDC. Further, by NABARD Act 1984, this fund is being managed by the NABARD in the banking independently. Borrowers in the cities of Delhi and Chandigarh alone have obtained agriculture loan worth rupees 45,000 crores, which is nearly to the same amount on loan disbursement to the farmers in the 5 states of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra, West Bengal, and Jharkhand in 2019. Disproportionate distribution of loan on agriculture credit to the disadvantage of the marginal and poor farmers. There is a growing urbanization of the agri-credit in India, with significant portion of such credit getting disbursed through urban branches of the commercial bank, mainly to big business and corporate houses involved in agriculture. All these have given rise to the unprecedented agrarian crisis in the country, leading to the suicides by lakhs of poor farmers, inclusive in recent such incidents, especially in the state of Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, UP, and Karnataka. As an offspring of RBI, NABARD share similar work culture, ethos, and development orientation of its parent institutions, and snapping the link between these two has led to a great disadvantage for both RBI, losing an important supervisory and development institution like NABARD in the entire rural credit activities, and for NABARD losing the benefit of sagacity and guidance from such premier central banking institutions. To re-establish this connection between these two important institutions for the benefit of the rural mass of the country, I suggest the following. The government may consider appointing the Deputy Governor of RBI as the chairman of the NABARD, re-establish the old practice which was there at the time of formation of NABARD. Immediately appoint a seasoned central bankers as the MD of the NABARD, as was done before. It was there, that practice in the earlier stage. Strengthening the synergy between the two institutions as envisaged by the committee to review arrangement for institutional credit for agriculture and rural development, known as known as Shivaraman Committee that paved the way for establishment of NABARD in 1982, strengthening the resources of NABARD to jack up institutional fund credit. There is a dearth of national rural credit fund made available to rural financing institutions like NABARD. In view of discontinuation of sources funding from RBI since 1993, this in turn has already affected long-term credit for and capital formation in the agriculture India. I therefore suggest the contribution from central government and RBI for NABARD resources be reinforced. Continuation of National Rural Credit Long-Term Operation Fund and National Rural Credit Stabilization Fund should also be reinforced further as per the provision of the Section 46A of the RBI Act. Special care should be taken to review the long-term cooperative credit structure of the country by augmenting funds to the then recommended by the Vaidyanathan Committee. NABARD has 418 district development managers, officers across the country to focus on credit planning and monitoring and coordination with the district administration bank and various development agencies for the implementation of development and promotional activities in the districts. In addition, 139 districts are tagged to specific DDM. The previous government closed some of the district office of NABARD, and there are districts that do not have this office. Moreover, being essential one-man office without any complement of supporting staff like clerks, messenger, peons, etc. The existing DDs are each handicapped to the function at optimum level. This has impacted the rural development activities in the districts. On this, I suggest re-establishing and opening of new district development managers' offices of NABARD at all districts of the country. With this, I once again support this bill. Thank you very much.
Sri M. Murali Mohan.
Very much, sir, for giving me an opportunity to participate in this important bill. I rise to support this NABARD Amendment Bill 2017 with some reservations. The bill inter alia empowers the central government to increase the authorized capital of the National Bank from 5,000 crore rupees to 30,000 crore rupees, which is timely needed at this juncture, and hence I welcome this bill. I appreciate Sri Arun Jaitley ji, Honorable Minister of Finance, for bringing amendments in this bill, as it will enable NABARD to augment its business and enhance its activities, which would facilitate promotion of integrated rural development and securing prosperity of rural areas, apart from generation of more employment opportunities. This is a good bill which will help the farmers of the entire country who are very much in need of financial support from the government. NABARD is extending long-term and short-term credits to agriculture and rural development through crop loans, capital formation, and for development of allied activities such as dairy, poultry, and fisheries, etc. The first and foremost my suggestion to the government is that the word of farmer may be incorporated in the NABARD, and the name and style would be the National Bank of Farmers, Agriculture and Rural Development. That would be great tribute to the farmers who are toiling hard for production of agriculture activities despite all odds. I also suggest the Farmers Welfare Board of India be constituted immediately to look into the farmers' issues regarding their financial needs, suggestions to the august farming sector, proper implementation of crop insurance scheme, and also amicable solution to end the suicides of farmers, etc. Going forward, NABARD is providing finance for development of irrigation facilities through long-term irrigation fund. Presently, it is providing funds for Polavaram multi-irrigation project. I therefore would like to suggest that similar support shall be extended to other major irrigation projects taken up by the state government. Andhra Pradesh has been the top line of state as far as utilization of NABARD funds, and it is perhaps one among very few states which used the NABARD funds for deriving maximum benefits for the farming community. AP is using NABARD funds for supplementing its efforts to create irrigation potential through use of Rural Infrastructure Development Fund, RIDF, developing groundwater irrigation through refinance, building storage infrastructure, cold storage and godowns, constructing roads and bridges which enabled linking villages with markets and so on. Major initiative the state took with the NABARD's partnership has been self-help group SHG movement, which became world-renowned movement as it empowered lakhs of women and their families. Andhra Pradesh has a long coastal line and it is often affected by droughts and floods in Rayalaseema and coastal areas. After bifurcation of Andhra Pradesh has been facing enormous challenges with substantial revenue and physical deficit after bifurcation. I therefore urge upon the government to release adequate funds to the tune of 2,000 crores to the state of Andhra Pradesh under NABARD's Green Climate Fund, and also request the government to allocate more funds under NABARD's CSR funds so as to utilize these funds for developmental works. Further, I would humbly request the government to continue to handhold AP till my state achieves a level playing field on par with the neighboring states. The other important issue which I would like to draw the attention of the government, that some of the primary agriculture cooperative societies, PSCCs, are reeling through financial constraints. As per the interview given by the chairman NABARD in March 2017, stated that primary agriculture credit societies are in bad shape. Further, he went on to say that one of the implementations of the PSCs is that they are not computerized, for which a sum of 1,900 crore allocation, a corpus to be made for PSC's computerizations. I suggest the government, the suggestions made by him may kindly be looked into the funds for the same may be sanctioned. I also suggest that NABARD shall expand scope of these PSCs into multi-services societies by providing one-time grant to these PSCs with computerization of PSCs for transforming into multi-service societies. I am of the opinion that NABARD shall extend its area of opportunities further to support farming and rural communities in the following areas. Dairy Infrastructure Development Fund shall be reoriented to meet replacement of old and absolute dairy infrastructure in the state. NABARD should encourage formation of more farm producer organizations. NABARD shall increase present financial support to convert these FPOs into marketing societies and also product-based FPOs. Another important section to the government is that refinance limits for cooperative banks by NABARD be increased from existing 40% to 60% limit, so that majority of cooperative banks get more support to extend to rural credit area. Complete, sir. Last page, sir. As well as we all know that agriculture plays a vital role in our economy. As per the 2011 census figures out, 54.6% of our population is engaged in agriculture and allied activities, and it contributes 17.4% to the country's gross value added. It is the toil of the farmer which brings prosperity in the country. The farmer takes great care of his crops and dreams of good crops. Sometimes his dreams are crushed by nature. Often it appears in the form of drought, flood, or untimely rains. Many times it is destroyed by hail, hailstorm, frost, mist, or fog. To say adverse weather condition causes the survival harm of the crops. If a farmer proposes, the country proposes. The country's progress is dependent upon the farmer's interest. The NABARD should directly release the loans to the farmers. At present practice of getting the loans from the nationalized banks are cumbersome. In this context, I would like to draw the attention of the government towards 34th report presented by the Standing Committee in Finance on August 2016, while appreciating the NABARD, have desired that NABARD should operate, lend more directly, eliminating intermediaries as far as possible, so that the beneficiary farmers can avail the credit in time of adequate measure. I therefore urge upon the government to implement the recommendations made by the Standing Committee on Finance in the matter of lock, stock and barrel. Further participation, at least 3 MPs from Lok Sabha and 2 MPs from Rajya Sabha be included as members of the board for a term of 2 years. My another submission to the government is that a regional office of NABARD be established at Amaravati, a new capital city of Andhra Pradesh. With these words, I conclude my speech and support the bill. Thank you, Madam.
Sri Varaprasad Rao.
Sir, so we welcome this bill wholeheartedly for increasing the authorized capital. But one small issue I want to mention here. Since the NABARD has been created by the Act of Parliament, the further increase on the capital can be done with the consultation of RBI, or it has to come to the Parliament. That's my one question. The second one, sir, the reason for why the Reserve Bank held that 0.4% of the equity was, before the formation of the NABARD, it was the Reserve Bank which was overseeing the functions of the RBI. So therefore, as a token of it, at the time the Reserve Bank has retained. Still people like us, we are of the opinion, because I worked in Reserve Bank, as a token of that, the Reserve Bank may be allowed to continue the small amount of 20 crores. Sir, particularly if any one dedicated bank is there for the rural development, agriculture, small scale industry, cottage industry, handicrafts and rural handicrafts, it is only the NABARD bank which is really serving it. As we say during these Gandhi days, the small is beautiful. That means the small industry is always beautiful because it creates more employment. So a full circle has come now. If we want to have the more employment, in particular in rural areas, we should really encourage the rural industries by infusing more funds to the NABARD. And what is precisely required, sir, now the development is entirely lopsided. The urban areas are highly developed, the cities, the towns are highly developed, whereas these villages are poorly developed. So therefore, to bridge the gap between these urban and the rural areas, the more funds may be given to the NABARD for integrated rural development, and also to have the sustained prosperity in the rural areas. Sir, this also, the NABARD also funds the irrigation projects, which is extremely important. So therefore, more funds from the Government of India may be given to the NABARD, particularly for the irrigation projects, because the 70% of the population in India depends upon the agriculture. So more funds for agricultural farming would be needed. So the present day, there is a lot of unemployment in rural areas. So to bridge that gap and to have more number of employments in the rural areas, agricultural loans may be given more. Similarly, horticulture, etc. should also be given. Agro-based industries may also be developed in rural areas to help these more industries to come up. And similarly, poultry. Sir, we have certain areas, for example, we have in Venkatagiri, where it's world renowned for textile industry. 3 years back, a textile park has been announced, but unfortunately, no bank is coming forward to fund that industrial park and the textile park. So the NABARD bank may come forward to develop the backward areas of Venkatagiri so that more employment could be created in the remote areas and the rural areas. We have only one, particularly in 2 districts, sir. For example, the Chittoor and the Nellore. We have only one important lifeline, that is Telugu Ganga. It's really starved for the funds. Since it is catering to mostly for the irrigation purposes and drinking water purposes, and additional canals could not be dug, perhaps the NABARD bank could give more loans for this particular project of Telugu Ganga in both the districts. Sir, presently, rural infrastructure is grossly inadequate. Particularly the roads, the drainages and community halls, etc. are grossly inadequate. So what we suggest is, again, as I said earlier, to bridge the gap between the rural areas and urban. The more infrastructure could be created in the rural areas, then only the migration from the villages to towns could be curtailed. So the present government had a very ambitious the program of doubling the agricultural farming income by 2022. Although 3 years have lapsed, there is no roadmap. How can they achieve the doubling of the agricultural farming income? So what we request the government is kindly give a roadmap to the parliament so that year by year how they could improve the agricultural income so that the suicides, etc. in the rural areas could be, of the farmers could be reduced. So there is a lack of connectivity in rural areas. The internet and the mobile is still in the infantile stage. So what we suggest is that since any case the NABARD is trying to fund this connectivity and other things, and also digitization of the self-help groups, and the government of India should come forward to give more funds to the NABARD. So therefore, the connectivity and the internet could be given more in the village areas. The reason, sir, last few points, sir. The reason is that, more important thing, sir, NABARD involves in the supervision inspection of the cooperative banks, district central cooperative banks. So now that is lacking, the inspection is lacking. So we suggest that the NABARD could also come in a big way so that the cooperative banks and central cooperative banks could be protected. Sir, as I was telling earlier, the loan pattern is lopsided, is more towards, is balancing more towards the rich and advanced communities and politically powerful people.
Conclude.
So what we suggest is, since it's a national wealth, so it could be distributed amongst all sections of the people as per the pro rata of the population. The BCs, SCs and STs and the minorities should also have their share in the community wise. Thank you so much, sir.
Sri Jitendra Chaudhary.